Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thanks a lot for having me.
Okay. First of all, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself, including the country, industry, and positions that you focus on?
Sure. So now I'm currently based in Singapore. I've got 10 years of experience in recruitment. I've covered the whole APAC region before, including Japan and Australia. So the kind of roles that I used to recruit were sales and marketing positions within the technology industry. And now I'm recruiting recruiters.
As a regional recruiter covering different countries in Asia, you must have worked with a lot of international candidates, right? What makes you think that this person is going to be a great fit for a certain position or certain companies? You can't just judge easily by the piece of paper, right? So just tell us a little bit of process, what kind of things you look for and how you judge competencies.
Okay. So, well, first off, what we get is the piece of paper or a phone call. So let's talk about the piece of paper first. What really jumps out to me is how it's presented. So formatting is actually quite important. Mm-hmm. It's the first impression that you give your prospective employer. The second thing we look for are definitely the keywords. So if I'm looking for a salesperson, I will look for numbers, profit, or accomplish, high achiever, top biller, that sort of things. Mm-hmm. And then of course I'll read a bit more, and then because we are looking for a holistic, a well-rounded person, I'll look at also into what else they're interested in. Are they only focused on their work and not really having a life? That's more of the culture fit. Mm-hmm. So that's for a piece of paper. If they call me up first, because I do provide my number online for them to contact me, I'd like to hear how they speak. Mm-hmm. And every time they give me a call, I give them the chance to have a conversation with me, and I'll see how they react and think on their feet. So that is some sort of stuff before I actually call them in for a proper interview.
You actually think that's okay for candidates to just reach out to recruiters, have a proper conversation by phone as well, right?
Well, that's my personal opinion. I'm looking for salespeople. For salespeople, we want you to be proactive. We want you to know how to create a new relationship. So if you're able to actually pick up the phone and contact the recruiter directly, that's the kind of people we want to do cold calling. Right. So you kind of demonstrated what I'm looking for already as a recruiter. This is what I'm looking for. So it really depends on the kind of role you're applying for. Mm-hmm. For other positions, that doesn't really have to prove it, but yeah.
And so many Korean professionals are concerned about their language skill just because their first language is not in English. So yeah. Could you give us some of the advice, how we can approach to those language barriers for international positions?
Well, let's set the record straight first. English is important in today's society. So it is it's the universal language. So it's definitely a must that you work on English. And to get to that, I would have good news actually that a lot of people in my company, English is not their first language. We've got right. People from China, we've got French, we've got Moroccan, we've got Spanish. So these people, English is not their first language, but they make it through. And how? It's through practice. Practice right. Meaning because they have so much passion in the role, they practice by speaking to people who speak English. They read a lot of articles, all in English, and they force themselves to get outside their comfort zone. So you have to practice.
Mm-hmm. So how good is good enough, right?
I would think if it'll be good enough if it actually gets your point across effectively. Mm-hmm. And effectively means what happens after that conversation with that person. Are you getting what you want? Is that person getting what they want? So for example, in a sales role, you're in a position or an industry where you have to work with people, you have to convince, persuade. There's a lot of communication going on. So your right. English has to be good and competent enough to understand someone from a different point of view or even clarify certain things. If not, there'll be that language barrier that actually blocks and there'll be a miscommunication.
So right. As an international candidate, we normally think that why would the employer hire somebody that they have to sponsor visa and then go through a lot of stuff, right? What do you think that we have to prepare ourselves to be apart from them?
Well, I can't fight the government when they say, okay, locals first. So they do make a point on the preference for people to do the job. I understand why the Singapore government would have it because they are truly believing that Singaporeans have the capability to do the job. Now, where foreigners come in is if their capability or competency beats that of a Singaporean, then we'll always choose the best person for the job. So we have preference to check out whether the Singaporeans can do it first. If they can't, then the experts will come in. So it's all about relevancy for the role and your expertise. So if you come in with no knowledge about the Asian market or the role itself, that's where you already have a disadvantage. We don't even talk about your visa status or sponsorship needs.
Right.
So it's really, we want to hire the best.